Many of you don't know that Fred Griffith had very strong musical roots. I mean, he came up from North Carolina, and he was steeped in all that music of his era and area. And I was in the class of '80 at Shaker Heights with Fred's son Wally Griffith, who went on to some TV acclaim. Wally had a band called Bootleg, and Bootleg was the first band I ever saw. It was in Fred Griffith's basement. Fred Griffith's house was my introduction to rock and roll subculture. And Fred would buy us beers. He'd bring beers down there to junior high kids. Cool dude, really cool dude. And in this commentary from the November 24th, 1987, 11 p.m. WEWS News, Fred talks about why Cleveland needs to work to take advantage of the opportunity to have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rock on, Fred Griffith, rock on.
You know, really, how much you remember about Cleveland's role in rock and roll history has a lot to do with how old you are. Much of Cleveland's contribution to rock and roll came many years ago. But Fred Griffith says we should not forget that our city still has an important role to fill.
To invite you right now to join Neil and I as we talk to Otis Redding.
In the 60s, you weren't anyone. You didn't get anywhere unless and until you came here, to this TV station, to this program. This was Upbeat, the nationally syndicated show with Don Webster. It was part of the rite of passage for the rock and rollers of the world back then. Upbeat was a part of the Cleveland music tradition. Long before Upbeat, the world's craftiest and most influential disc jockeys anointed the songs and the singers, and they broke out here before sweeping the nation. Even the words rock and roll were first used together here. If you have vivid recollections of those times, you're probably starting to get a little gray at your temples, and you're going to the symphony. If you're under 35, and most people are, those early days of Cleveland rock and roll are ancient history, but they happened. They were important, and that's why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is here and not someplace else. We have the tradition. All we have to do now is build a hall for it.